Hello and welcome to another weekly market update after the markets closed on 30th of August 2019 as the volatile, slowish summer comes to an end. Let's see what's going to unfold in autumn. So here's where we look at the big picture and the short-term picture. We're going to see where the market's going, where it's short-term because it's going to affect our trades. Longer term, that's a much bigger thing. The economy, real estate. Are we in a bull market? Are we in a bear market? Or is one coming? And that's the first thing we're going to look at here. So this is the S&P 500 over the last few years, and my proprietary system called a bull market right there. And got us out around here, went to cash. It's been in a cash ever since, but I had this huge wobble here where the market, then it resets everything using my system, and then we're waiting for things to get back on track and waiting for certain boxes to be ticked before I can say, yes, it's a brand new bull market. It's definitely looking hopeful. We've got the 40-week, the all-important, the blue line here, which is the moving average over the last 40 weeks, is definitely in an uptrend now. And even over the last 6 months or so, I could just about carve out an uptrend for that. And the price is above the 40-week. It's definitely positive. If it can remain here, push higher, then things will be looking good. It's very reactive to the whole, is there a trade war, isn't there a trade war, stuff going on between US and China. But I think there's more to it than that. Market just does what it does, and it's weighing up all sorts of things. Let's look at the daily picture to see if we can make it a little bit more sense out of the shorter term. And one thing you'll see here as we zoom in on the 6 month is something you don't actually see that often for this length of time on the major index like this, is quite a very tidy little channel now that's carved its way out there. You can see there we've got a definite line of resistance and a definite line of support, and it's been bouncing in between these two for the whole of August. So you've got the real holding pattern here, but that's good because from a predictive point of view, because that means that if the S&P can get above that number there around 29, let's call it 2925, if it can close above that on the daily chart, close above, not just reach above, then it should be game on and pushing higher. Conversely, if it closes below, looks like about 28, let's call it 2844, let's call it 2840 for cash. If it closes below there, then we're going to have a test of the key moving averages here, which is not such a good sign. It's looking a bit stretched in this position right here, so I wouldn't be surprised to see this week fall down again to test that support. But right now, really the whole thing on the big picture and short term, it's just one big holding pattern, and the market's going to be watching closely for things like the Federal Reserve is going to be responding quite aggressively now. Don't forget, we're moving into an election cycle in 2020, so they're going to be doing a bit of window dressing in the form of low interest rates, etc. So expect the market to react to that, and consumer spending is keeping things going. So it's hanging in there. Let's look at cryptocurrencies. First of all, by starting off at the GBTC chart. This is like an index measures Bitcoin basically, but it's been proven to be a very useful tool for predicting, the whole barring the small anomalies, the whole cryptocurrency complex with the big players like Bitcoin at least. Let's put on log scale because it's had such a wide range of prices, we can make sense of this. So here's that big boom when everyone getting all the publicity and everyone was buying into it. But look what an orderly chart this is, stepping up like this. It gets below the 40-week, struggles, and then then down it goes. Once it starts getting above the 40-week, starts climbing back above. That has been, this has been a very, the actual price of Bitcoin itself is very volatile, go up and down all over the place. But this chart, because it's an ETF, is a very balances out a lot of that volatility. So it's sort of hanging in there here. Let's go on the daily chart here. But you can see now the uptrend. That's the all-important 40-week. There's no question about that. And that has been an uptrend for a good while now, pointing higher, and it's holding above it. It did get, it rose very quickly, a long way, very fast, and so it's justified now in waiting for this. The 40-week really needs to catch up with it, because things can't get too far away from their 40-week. You'll notice it's like an anchor, and it's got too far the other way now, and it may be trying to meet its 40-week here, which if we go on the daily chart is translated as the 200-day. By the way, all the jargon I'm using here, if you've been on one of my courses, or you've read one of my courses or listened to DVDs, it's all on there. So that's your starting point before you come to these live updates. I don't generally explain that here. So here's the daily chart of Bitcoin, GBTC to be precise, and it's got this sideways action here. There's the 200-day. That's what needs to sort of, it's trying to get in sync with a little bit, but it's been such an orderly chart so far. I mean, look at these steps, and then we're here, and it looks like a kind of testing zone here. It's a little bit below historical support, and it is looking quite oversold though in this position. So let's see if it needs to hang on right there, and then just chug higher and wait for its 200-day to catch up with it. But it's not. That's not a bad position here. It's either going to go down further from there decisively. If it can hang on, then it should keep on bouncing more. Let's look at excuse me. The chart of CoinMarketCap. And this is just generally an idea about, this is the league table on CoinMarketCap.com. This is the league table of all of them in terms of, how much they're actually worth. And you can still see, far and away, especially since this meteoric rise of late, that to be fair, I've been commentating on this right from back here because it's been such a reliable thing. But what is interesting is that the media is still not saying, the rebirth of Bitcoin. They might be saying the death of Bitcoin a bit less. Well, not everyone, but this, you see, the media, the mass media are going to be saying, this is when they're going to be saying Bitcoin's amazing, right there, right when it's too late. I've been explaining about it here, and so should you would have been seeing that as well. So that's not always when everyone else is doing something, typically, or when the media is reporting it, is not the right time. But look how far and away it is ahead of even Ethereum here, which I think fundamentally that is where the future is, Ethereum, and the banks are behind Ripple. But this is still the people's coin, and the market capitalization you see here is just running away with it on the crypto league table. Let's just take a quick look at gold, because that is also been very interesting. And just look at, I've been commentating on this as well. For once, gold is actually, and it's very overstretched, but there's been a rush into gold. And who's to say we know why that is? I mean, they're talking about lowering interest rates again, which is adverse for gold. But what an orderly chart it's been. As explained, I've been commentating on this all the way up these steps. And there's another one forming up here now. So gold is back with a vengeance, and the uptrend shows no signs of breaking. That should mean that the gold miners, if we look at GDX, which is a complex of gold miners, it's exact mirror image of that. So we can start looking at this a bit more seriously as well. For generally individual stock picks, I'm waiting for this, the market to see exactly, make its mind up. But that remains to be seen. There's a large hurricane off the coast of Florida, so we'll no doubt be waiting to see any effects of that as well. But I'm expecting at least a week ahead to be one of, it should be at least in a holding pattern here, and I will speak to you next time.